The Irish Rebellion of 1798 was a significant uprising against British rule in Ireland, inspired by the revolutionary ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity that emerged from the American and French revolutions. The rebellion was spearheaded by the United Irishmen, a Republican revolutionary group seeking to establish an independent Irish republic free from British control and to unite Irish Catholics and Protestants under a common cause. The uprising was marked by brutal battles, widespread violence, and tragic defeats for the rebels. Background: by the late 18th century, Ireland was a deeply divided society under British control. Power was concentrated in the hands of a Protestant ruling class known as the Anglo-Irish Ascendancy, while the majority Catholic population was disenfranchised and oppressed under the Penal Laws, a series of legal restrictions designed to marginalize Catholics. Protestants outside of this ruling class, particularly Presbyterians in the north of Ireland, also faced discrimination, although not as severe as Catholics. The American War of Independence, 1775 to 1783, and the French Revolution, 1789, had a profound influence on the Irish political landscape. Many in Ireland saw the potential for their own revolution. In 1791, a group of reform-minded individuals, including Presbyterians, Catholics, and some liberal Protestants, founded the Society of United Irishmen in Belfast. Led by figures such as Theobald Wolfe Tone, Henry Joy McCracken, and James Napper Tandy, the United Irishmen aimed to unite Irishmen of all religious backgrounds in the pursuit of political reform, equality, and, ultimately, Irish independence. Causes of the uprising: 1. Religious and political discrimination. The Penal Laws severely restricted the rights of Irish Catholics, including their right to own land, practice their religion openly, and participate in political life. Even the Protestant dissenters, like Presbyterians, were excluded from many privileges enjoyed by the Anglican elite. 2. Influence of revolutionary ideas. The success of the American Revolution and the radical changes in France during the French Revolution inspired many Irish people to believe that a similar movement could succeed in Ireland. The United Irishmen were deeply influenced by Enlightenment ideals of democracy, equality, and republicanism. 3. Economic hardships. By the 1790s, much of the Irish population was living in poverty, exacerbated by high rents, poor harvests, and oppressive taxation, leading to unrest in the countryside. Many believed that independence from Britain would bring economic reform and improve the lives of ordinary Irish people. 4. Government repression. The British government, fearing the growing radicalism of the United Irishmen, implemented a brutal campaign of repression, including arrests, torture, and the suppression of free speech. The Irish Parliament, dominated by the Anglo-Irish Ascendancy, was also resistant to reform, further alienating the populace. The rebellion. The rebellion began in earnest in May 1798 after months of covert organizing and planning by the United Irishmen. The plan was to launch a coordinated nationwide uprising with the support of a French invasion, but the government uncovered much of the plot beforehand, arresting key leaders and imposing martial law. Despite this setback, the rebellion went ahead, although without the cohesion originally intended. 1. Wexford Uprising. The most significant and sustained fighting took place in the southeast, particularly in County Wexford. On May 27th, the rebels captured the town of Enniscorthy, and shortly after, they took control of Wexford town itself, setting up a provisional rebel government. The leader of the Wexford Rebellion was Father John Murphy, a Catholic priest who had initially sought to avoid the violence, but eventually became one of its most prominent figures. However, the rebel forces, mainly composed of poorly armed and inexperienced peasants, lacked discipline and coordination. At the Battle of Vinegar Hill on June 21, 1798, British forces decisively defeated the Wexford rebels, using artillery to crush the poorly defended insurgents. Thousands of rebels were killed or captured, and the rebellion in Wexford quickly collapsed. 2. Northern Rebellion. In Ulster, the center of the United Irishmen's early organizing efforts, the rebellion flared briefly but was quickly suppressed. On June 7th, the rebels captured the town of Antrim, but after initial successes, they were overwhelmed by government forces. The rebellion in Ulster fizzled out after the Battle of Ballynahinch, June 12th to 13th, where the rebels were defeated by British forces under General Nugent. Rebel leader Henry Joy McCracken was captured and hanged, marking the end of the Northern Uprising. 3. French involvement and the Connaught Campaign. The United Irishmen had hoped for significant French military aid, but it came too late and in insufficient numbers. In August 1798, a small French force of about 1,000 men, led by General Jean-Joseph Amable Humbert, landed in County Mayo in the west of Ireland. The French and Irish forces won a notable victory against British troops at the Battle of Castlebar on August 27th, in what became known as the Castlebar Races due to the speed of the British retreat. However, this success was short-lived. Humbert's forces were decisively defeated at the Battle of Ballynahinch on September 8th, and the French soldiers were taken prisoner. Wolfe Tone, who had been involved in trying to secure French support, was captured after a subsequent French fleet was intercepted by the British Navy. Tone was later sentenced to death, but took his own life in prison. Aftermath. The rebellion was a devastating failure for the United Irishmen. Between 20,000 and 30,000 people were killed, many of them civilians caught in the brutal repression that followed the fighting. The British government responded with severe reprisals, including mass executions, property confiscations, and the hanging or deportation of rebel leaders. The rebellion also had significant political consequences. In 1801, the Act of Union was passed, dissolving the Irish Parliament and creating the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. Ireland was now governed directly from Westminster, and Catholic emancipation, one of the United Irishmen's key demands, remained unfulfilled for decades. The rebellion also entrenched divisions between Protestants and Catholics, which would shape Irish politics for generations to come. Legacy. The 1798 rebellion remains a pivotal moment in Irish history. Although it failed, it left a deep legacy of republicanism and the idea of Irish independence, which would inspire future generations of Irish nationalists, including those involved in the Irish War of Independence in the early 20th century. Wolfe Tone and other leaders of the rebellion are remembered as martyrs for Irish freedom, and their ideals of liberty and equality continued to influence Ireland's struggle for independence. In the words of Wolfe Tone, "From my earliest youth, I have regarded the connection between Ireland and Great Britain as the curse of the Irish nation." This sentiment echoed through the centuries, fueling Ireland's long and arduous journey towards independence. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons to stay updated with more content. The creator of Polly Speaks For You has always been driven by a passion for giving a voice to those who need it most. Whether it's through text-to-speech technology or voice recognition, the goal has always been to create tools that help individuals, especially those with disabilities or learning challenges, communicate and interact with the world in a way that is meaningful and empowering. The stories shared, such as those about the sailors aboard the HMS Victory, are not just about reliving history. They are about the power of voice. Through Polly Speaks For You, the creator saw an opportunity to use storytelling as a medium to convey courage, strength, and resilience, much like the sailors of the past. These stories are intended to inspire and engage users, reminding them of the importance of their voices, both literally and metaphorically. The idea behind these stories is to showcase how technology, particularly speech technology, can be a tool for preserving history, while also empowering users with the capability to share their own narratives. By blending history with technology, the creator of Polly Speaks For You aims to demonstrate how powerful a voice can be in shaping and sharing our world, past and present. In a sense, these stories represent more than just entertainment. They are a way for the creator to give a voice to history, to connect with users in a deeply human way, and to remind them that their voices matter, whether they are telling their own stories or those of others. The creator's work in developing Polly Speaks For You was never just about making a functional tool. It was about making sure that every voice had the power to be heard. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons to stay updated with more content. This content has been adapted from the powerful features of Polly Speaks For You, South Africa's leading accessibility software. Learn more at www.polispeaksforyou.co.za. We invite you to support this meaningful dyslexic initiative, crafted and developed by an individual who personally understands the challenges of dyslexia.